Chandeli and sesame seeds. Brihat began telling the story. I sought the hospitality of a Brahmin one day for sacred ceremonies connected with the monsoon season. He was kind enough to offer me space in his house, and in return I used to render services he found useful in his rituals. As this arrangement continued, one fine morning I heard the Brahmin and his wife Chandeli discussing what they should do for the day. The husband told his wife, "Today is the time when the sun begins his northward journey and a time when the rich and pious people offer gifts to Brahmins. I am going to the next village to receive the offerings. You will do well to invite a Brahmin as guest today, and offer him food in the name of the sun." The wife flew into a rage and told him, "How can I offer anything to anyone in your poverty-stricken house? Aren't you ashamed to make such a suggestion? I have wasted my entire life as your wife. I haven't tasted a good meal so far even on a single day. Nor do I have any jewelry." Though taken aback, the Brahmin quickly recovered and said, "Such words are not becoming of you. The learned say that if you share even half of your meal with a mendicant, you will get whatever you wish in life. What good the rich reap by liberally giving away, the poor get by parting with even a cent they have. The giver deserves to be served even if he is poor. But a rich miser is shunned. It is like the well and the sea. People drink the water from the well and not the sea. We must always give to him who deserves. Greed can only destroy a person." "How is it?" asked the wife. The husband then told Chandeli the story of the hunter and the greedy jackal. A hunter went to the forest in search of a kill. Spotting a well-fed boar, he took his bow and aimed a sharp arrow at the boar. Though severely wounded, the boar made a wild charge at the hunter, goring him to death. The boar too died later from the wounds inflicted by the hunter. Meanwhile, a hungry jackal, not knowing that he was doomed to die, came on the scene where the bodies of the hunter and the boar lay. He was thrilled by the sight of so much food and thought, "God has favored me today. That's why he has sent so much food for me." It is not without reason that the learned have said that he who has done a good deed in a previous birth is rewarded in this birth even if he does not make any effort. This great feast is certainly the result of some good I have done in a previous birth. But a man must enjoy his wealth in small doses. Therefore, I will begin my meal with this gut of the bow. The jackal went close to the body of the hunter and began nibbling at the gut of the bow. The gut suddenly snapped with great force, killing the jackal in the end. That's why, the Brahmin told his wife, "Haven't you heard that a man's longevity, destiny, wealth, learning and death are predetermined by God even as the child is in the womb of the mother?" If that is the case, Chandeli said, "I have some unhusked sesame seeds in the house. I will make a cake from it and serve it to a Brahmin." Happy at his wife's words, the Brahmin left for the next village. The wife soaked the seeds in warm water, removed their husk and left them on a cloth to dry in the sun. As the Brahmin's wife was busy with other chores, a dog came and peed on the seeds left on the cloth to dry. When the wife saw what the dog had done, she felt miserable that all her effort had gone in vain. She thought that nobody could undo God's will. She thought, "These seeds cannot now be given away to anyone. I will see if I can exchange them for unhusked seeds. Anybody will agree to this swap." Brihat continued his story. The Brahmin's wife came to the same house, which I was visiting, to accept offerings. She offered to exchange the husked seeds to anyone ready to accept them. Then the woman in the house came out, and was ready to accept the husked seeds from the Brahmin's wife. But her son intervened and told her, "Mother, these seeds are not good. Why should anyone give away good husked seeds for the raw seeds?" There must be some reason for it. The housewife at once gave up the idea of taking husked seeds from the Brahmin's wife. After Brihat completed the story, he asked Tamrashud, "Do you know the route he Hiranyaka takes to come here?" "I have no idea," said Tamrashud. "Have you any tool to dig?" asked the visitor. "Yes, I have a dibble with me." "In that case, let us follow the mouse trail before it is erased," said the visitor. Hiranyaka resumed his account and said, listening to the conversation between Tamrashud and Brihat, "I thought that my end had come. Just as he had found my food store, he is capable of tracking my fort. Learned men can measure the strength of the rival by just looking at him. I decided immediately to take a new route, and was on my way with the other mice when a fat cat sighted us. He immediately pounced on us and killed a number of my retinue. Excepting me, those of the blooded mice who escaped being killed by the cat took the same old route to the fort. The visitor saw the trail of blood the fleeing mice left behind and following it reached my fort. There, Brihat and Tamrashud dug and found the food store. The visitor told Tamrashud, "Here is the secret of the mouse's energy. Now, you can sleep in peace." Then they took the store to the temple, the home of Tamrashud. I went back to where I had stored food. It was now like a desert. Without food, the spot was a ghastly scene. I did not know where to go and what to do to get back my peace of mind. Somehow, I spent the day in sorrow, and when it was dawn went to the temple followed by what remained of my retinue. Alerted by the noise we made, Tamrashud again began striking the food bowl with the bamboo. Brihat, the visitor, asked him why he was doing so. Tamrashud told him about our return. The visitor laughed and told Tamrashud, "Friend, don't be afraid now. The mouse has lost his energy. It cannot do any mischief now." When I heard this, I was angry and tried again to jump at the food bowl and crashed to the ground before I could reach the bowl. I was dejected by this failure. But my sadness increased when I heard my retinue telling each other that I was no more capable of earning food for them, and they should immediately give up serving me. I then realized the importance of riches, and decided to somehow steal it back from Tamrashud. When I made another attempt, the visitor saw me and banged the bamboo on my head. I somehow managed to escape. Elders have always said that man gets what he is destined to. Even God cannot alter destiny. So, I stopped brooding over what has happened, because what is ours can never become others. "Explain that to us," asked Lagpatanika and Mandaraka. 5. Story of the merchant's son. Sagargupta was a merchant living in one of the country's big cities. He had a son, who, one day purchased a book whose only content was a single verse. The verse read, "Man gets what is in his destiny, even God cannot prevent it. To me it makes no difference, what's mine can never become others." "What is the price of this book?" the father asked. 100 rupees, said the son. The father flew into a rage and said, "You are a fool. You have paid 100 rupees for a book that has only one verse. You can never come up in life. Leave my house at once. It has no place for you." Thrown out of the house, the boy went to another city and began fresh life there. One day, a neighbor asked him, "What is your native place and what is your name?" The boy replied, "Man gets what he is destined to." He gave the same answer to whoever asked for his name. From that day onwards, people began calling him Praptavya, meaning the same line he was reciting to indicate his name. The summer came and the city was celebrating it with a big fair. One of the visitors to the fair was the city's princess Chandravati and her maids. Chandravati was young and beautiful. As she was making the rounds of the fair, she saw an extremely handsome warrior and immediately fell in love with him. She told one of her maids, "It is your job to see that both of us meet." The maid ran to the warrior and told him, "I have a message for you from our princess. She says she will die if you do not meet her today. But tell me where and how I can see her." "How can I enter the harem?" asked the warrior. The maid told him, "Come to the palace and you will see a rope hanging from the high wall. Climb and jump over the wall with the help of the rope." "All right, I will try to do it tonight," said the warrior. When the night came, the warrior lost his nerve and thought, "Oh, this is an improper thing to do. The elders have said, he who has liaison with the daughter of a teacher, wife of a friend, or of a master, or of a servant commits the sin of killing a Brahmin. Also, don't do what brings you a bad name, or what denies you a place in heaven." In the end, the warrior decided not to meet the princess and stayed back at home. Coming out for a walk in the night, Prapta noticed the rope outside the royal palace and, curious to know what it is, went up the rope that took him inside the princess' bedroom. The princess mistook him for the warrior and served him dinner and with great ecstasy told Prapta, "I have fallen in love with you at the very first sight. I am yours. You are in my heart and nobody except you can be my husband. Why don't you say something?" He replied, "Man gets what he is destined to." The princess immediately realized that this man was not the warrior she saw in the day and asked him to leave the palace at once. She made sure that he climbed back the way he came. Prapta left the place and slept that night in a run-down temple. The sheriff of the city came to the same temple where he had arranged to meet a woman of vice. He saw Prapta sleeping there and to keep his meeting a secret, he asked Prapta who he was. Prapta recited the verse about destiny. The sheriff then said, "Sir, this is a bad place to sleep. You can go to my house and sleep there tonight in my place." The merchant's son agreed to the proposal. At the sheriff's house, his young and beautiful daughter Vinayawati had asked her lover to come and meet her secretly there in the night. When Prapta came there following the sheriff's advice, Vinayawati mistook him in the darkness for her secret lover. She arranged a feast for him and married him according to Gandharva tradition. Noticing that Prapta did not utter a word, the sheriff's daughter asked him to say something. Prapta recited his usual verse. Vinayawati realized her mistake and asked him to leave at once. As Prapta once again took to the street, he saw a marriage procession entering the city led by the bridegroom named Varakirti. He joined the procession. The bride was the daughter of a very wealthy merchant of the city. This procession reached the wedding hall sometime before the scheduled time for the wedding. The bride's father set up a costly and gaily decorated dais for the wedding. The bridal party came to the scene of wedding a bit in advance. In the meantime, an elephant went berserk and killing the mahout headed for the marriage venue. The bridegroom and his party joined the frightened people, who were fleeing the scene of marriage. Prapta happened to see the frightened bride alone and abandoned on the dais shivering in fear. He jumped onto the dais and told the merchant's daughter that she need not fear for her life, and that he would save her at any cost. With great courage and presence of mind he approached the elephant with a stick and began to threaten him. The elephant luckily left the scene. Prapta took the bride's hand into his as a token of assurance. When peace returned, Varakirti and his friends and relatives also returned to the dais, and seeing the bride's hand in the hand of a stranger, addressed the merchant, "Sir, you have pledged the hand of your daughter to me. But I see that you have given her away to someone else. This is improper." The merchant replied, "My son, I don't know anything. I also ran away from the dais. Let me ask my daughter." The daughter told her father, this brave man saved me from the mad elephant. He is my savior. I won't marry anyone but him." It was now dawn, and hearing the commotion, the royal princess also came to the wedding venue to see what happened. The sheriff's daughter also came there, learning what had happened. The king also came there and asked Prapta to tell him everything without fear. Prapta, as usual, recited the verse. This verse rang a bell in the princess' head. She remembered what happened in the night and thought, even God cannot undo what is destined. The sheriff's daughter also recalled the events of the night and thought, there is nothing to regret nor cause for surprise. Listening to what Prapta said, the merchant's daughter also thought, nobody can take away what destiny gives me. The king now knew everything and the mystery of the verse. He then gave away his daughter in marriage to Prapta, and also 1,000 villages as gift. He also crowned Prapta as the prince. The sheriff also married his daughter to Prapta. The merchant's son lived happily ever after with his wives and parents. Hiranyaka, the mouse, thus ended his story of troubles and said, even God cannot undo what is destined, there is nothing to regret nor cause for surprise, nobody can take away what destiny gives me. I am disillusioned. That is why my friend Lagupatanaka brought me to you, said the mouse. Addressing the mouse, Mandaraka, the turtle said, O Hiranyaka, the crow is your true friend. Though he was hungry and you were his meal, he did not kill you. On the other hand, he brought you here on his back. You must make a friend of him who is uncorrupted by wealth and who stands by you in time of trouble. The turtle continued, therefore, stay here without fear or hesitation. Forget the loss of wealth and shelter. Remember, the shade of a passing cloud, friendship of the wicked, a cooked meal, youth and wealth do not stay for long. Learned men are never attached to wealth. It does not come with you even for a few feet in your last journey. There is a lot of pain in earning money and protecting it. Money, therefore, brings grief. What is not ours will not stay with us. Haven't you heard the story of Samalaka, who earned a lot of wealth, but could not keep it? How is that? Asked Hiranyaka. Mandaraka began telling Hiranyaka the story of the unlucky weaver.